Hi, my beautiful brothers and sisters. This is Mary Hernandez with Genesis Kingdom. Part 1, possibly Part 2. But today I picked the title, When God Doesn't Answer Our Prayers. And the Bible verse, because I'm reading 1 Samuel right now. I'm almost done with it, and I'll be starting Samuel 2. But I wanted to feel that because at times I know that we get that feeling. I know I haven't, and I know that I'm in my heavenly levels is really high up. But it's okay to, ask him that. It's okay to such as we're like, man, we feel like he's not answering our prayers. But that's us, that's us almost like getting impatient. Us maybe you're thinking like, man, when? Or maybe even sometimes even saying like, how long? How long do we have to continue suffering? How long is the enemy going to continue, winning? Those are questions that we ask, but really, if you think about it, we've been winning the battle all along. All along, he was with us. He kept us alive and maintained us. And a lot of you know that we went through a lot in this journey, but we didn't quit. We kept going and we endure because I feared at the end of the day, no matter what, I prayed at the beginning of the journey for him to give me the victory and the truth, and he was on it back and forth, don't stay lost in that thought, know that of course we're going to feel it, the insecurity, and sometimes he doesn't answer. And this is something that kind of brought as I was reading it. And I said, man, this could be one of the things why, sin, sin alone, because, and then I'll tell you in here. So let me go ahead and read to you. 1 Samuel 28. It says, and it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish unto David, know that assuredly that thou shalt go out with me in the battle, and thou and thy men. But David said to Achish, surely thou shalt know what thy servant could do. It says, and therefore I will make thee the keeper of the head over us. So they're asking him, right? It says, and David said to Achish, surely thou shalt know that thy servant could do. We surely know what you could do. And it says, and Achish said to David, therefore will I make thee the keeper of my head forever. It says, now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented. They had lamented him, and they buried him in Ramah. But even in this own city, Saul had put away those that had with familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. So remember, there was nobody with evil spirits that were out of the land. That's what God does. As we continue going, that people that are like that, he removes them out. Okay? And then it says, so he had removed them, right? And that's in 1 Samuel 28:3. So now for the Philistines gathered themselves together, and they came to pitch in Shum. It says, and Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. It says, and Saul saw that the host of the Philistines, that he was afraid, and the heart greatly trembled. But when Saul inquired the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. He wasn't hearing nothing at all. It says, and then Saul said unto his servant, seek me a woman that had a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that had a familiar spirit of Endor. And what was he talking about? Some people that do science, some people that read cards, all that, they contact the dead. They contact the dead. That's opening to a spiritual realm. That's what it means, familiar spirit. It's an evil spirit. It's not of God. So he said, I know I kicked everybody out. I know I kicked the wizards out. I know I killed that. He told his servant, can you please find me somebody that does that? Because they weren't in the land. That's what God removes. And he's saying, can you please find me somebody that does? right? It says, so Saul disguised himself. He disguised himself, put on other raiment, and he went. 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by a familiar spirit. Bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. But do you see how he said, can you please bring somebody up? That I'm asking you, a spirit. All that is demonic. All that is evil. You know, if you're gifted in that area, use it for good. No cards. Not saying that you could do and say, well, I'm contacting the demons, but hey, you better watch your back because they're about to do something. No, you're still contacting the demons. Let that go. Let it go. Repent from sin. Stop doing that and say, hey, God, I have a spiritual gift. Can I use it for your kingdom? Can you guide me? No cards. No contacting the dead. That's evil. God is not evil. God doesn't contact the dead. He's the God of the living, not the God of the dead. And that's what you open to, is portals to the darkness. And he knew that. Now he said, the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul had done, right? She told him. It says, how he had cut off those that have familiar spirits and wizards out of the land. Wherefore, they layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die. So he said, you know, Saul kicked everybody out, right? They're not supposed to, but you're coming to me and asking me for help. So you're asking me for help. They know if you use that sorceries and the word is out, you will die. You know, the hands of God is already on you. He already cast them out. So she's saying, hey, I'm going to die if I sit there because we were kicked out. We're not supposed to do no work from there. That's the power of God, not the power of the evil, not the power or even of a king, but that God removed you out of there. He's telling you, do not do any of that sorcery's work around me or you will surely die. Then he said, it says, then said the woman, whom shall I bring up for thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. Because Samuel had just perished, right? And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? It says, for thou art Saul, because remember, he went in there and he was hiding. And the king said unto her, be not afraid. For what sawest thou? The woman said unto Saul, I saw gods. She said, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, what form is he of? And she said, an old man that cometh up. And he covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived, and that was Samuel. He stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, said, I am sore and distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God departed from me, and answered me no more. I wonder why he's not answering him. But neither by prophets, nor by dreams, but therefore I have called thee, and thou mayest know unto me what I should do. You know, he was somebody that was anointed, right? And he was a king. You know, God picks kings and queens and is to do good. The minute you do bad, that you will get dethroned, because we already have a demonic world that's out there doing evil in this world. Why am I going to use you, the power that we come with God, to come and do evil in this world? You know, and you read when he said that, God had cut him off because God had asked him to do something when they went in there to take territory in the land and asked him not to save no one. Well, he ended up doing what he wanted to, you know, and God said, that's not what I said. That's why he lost it. And David was anointed. But if you remember at the very beginning that David was anointed as a young as a young man. Sorry about that. As a young man. So do you see how, in a way, if God knew in his heart that you were going to serve him, because he was looking for an everlasting king that was going to do right? That's what he was looking for. So he found this man, right? And he anointed him as a young age. Remember, he didn't reign in there. I believe it was like between 20, 30 years before he became the king, but he was already anointed. He was a prince in the making. God was already, getting him ready for his high calling. In Samuel, God demoted because of the fact that he went and did his will, not God's will. So when you do your will, then you're making yourself God. You're making the one that's a decision, because at the end of the day, we're still under his authority, no matter what. And if we're going to do it for evil, what was he trying to do? He was trying so hard to kill David because he was jealous, because people would say, well, Saul said, hey, well, I killed 1,000, of the unclean spirits in this world. And people are like, is that it? Well, David did 10,000 over here. So he, the jealousy kicked in. So that's how he became his rival, and we're God's people. And what did God do? God put him in the position that he could kill the person that has done him wrong. And what did David do? He said, it is not for me to take it in my hands. He said, I will not touch God's anointed, because that's a respect that you give God. God, not that person, because that person didn't deserve that respect. But because we love our Creator, we're not going to go take it in our hands and go do evil to the person that did us evil. But what does he say to do is pray. And that's what we do. We pray for that person. I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt. Of course, some things hurt like heck, but we have to forgive and we have to let go. He forgave us and still used us, and we didn't deserve it. None of us. And some of you are still working in those spirits. I feel sorry for you. I really do pray for you. I really do pray for you. You need to get right with yourself, because it starts with yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's not even about you. It's about God. And he knows the heart, and that's why he knows who he picked. But with that being said, David didn't take advantage of that. And we're in power. I'm in power now that I could do that. Put me right in the midst of my enemies, everywhere he put me in this journey. Did I ever take that? Did I ever take it and said, you know what, I could do it? No. Because then I'm making myself in the place of God. We're like in an image of God, but we're not. We represent heaven on earth. We don't represent hell. Hell kills, steals, and destroys. He already has the minions that are out there doing evil. Why are we going to do the work of an evil person in this world? We don't. So now it comes. Then Samuel, wherefore? Because he's telling him, can you please, God's not answering me. Is there any way? He's trying to ask him to intervene and say, hey, he pulled him out of there. But do you see how powerful God's people are? They come through a Zion like, hey, you know what I'm saying? They come through there and be like, what do you want? That scared that lady, because she said, hey, this is God's people. She said, these are God's, not the other ones that call themselves. They just always are copycats. These are demonic entities. And here comes God's people coming through that. Don't tell me that kind of power that we walked in. We walk in that kind of power, but we don't abuse it. Ever. I stay quiet in the storm here and there. It tries to come out and say something, but they're not worth it. They're not worth it for me to get my hands dirty, or my heart or my thoughts dirty. The vengeance is his. I paid. I didn't get a free pass and be like, hey, sorry, daughter, you were anointed, but you sin, it's okay. No. We're all going to have that judgment day. You might have thought you got away with it here. He knows. He knows everything. He knows when you're making up lies. He knows when you're going to go up there. Everything. Anyways, it says, Then said Samuel, wherefore then doest thou ask me, seeing that the Lord departed from thee? And he became thine enemy. It says, and is become a thine enemy. The minute that God departs from you and you're going seeking the darkness, you become his enemy. Do you blame him? You're serving the darkness. You're contacting the dead. You're going after his anointed people, and you're a children of God. We're talking about the Gentiles in this world that don't even know that. And you know that you're God's people, and you know that's God's anointed. David knew. And this man was trying to hunt him down and kill him, and he still didn't do it. Why do you think he chose David? because he knew the heart. He knew the heart. It ain't even got nothing to do with looks. Nothing. Because I've seen good and bad and ugly. It doesn't matter. That had nothing to do with it. It's the heart. Now it says, so he asked him, and then Samuel told him, you seen that the Lord departed from thee and is become thine enemy. He becomes your enemy. You become God's enemy when you're sitting there serving the darkness and you want him to answer. So if he's not answering you, ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Or what if you're doing everything right? There's also an answer for that, It also tells you, because you reap what you sow. So you're either going to reap bad seed and do evil, or you're going to continue reaping good seed even when you don't see a way. It endures. It says endure the opposition. The demonic world is the only one that is really your only true enemy. Not even God's people, not even the ones that are attacking you, not even the Gentiles. We're talking about the real, fixating on the real demonic world. That is what is our true enemy. So when I hear, they say this, they say that, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care to hear drama. I'm not about drama. I don't care to hear it. But I would pray for you because I was lost at one time. And I've been found. So I'm the prodigal daughter that came home. Where's you? He's waiting on his other children to come home. Even on this world. He adopted this world and made him his. It says, and the Lord had done him, and he spake by me. For the Lord had rent the kingdom out in thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David. So he was sour. He was sour because he had lost it. He had sour because God wasn't, that's it. God was done with him. He already had chosen somebody else, but then that's something that you need to ask within yourself. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel unto thee. It says, will deliver Israel with thee, and into the hands of the Philistines in the tomorrow. Shall thou and thy sons be with me, the Lord shall also deliver the host of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. Then Saul shall feel straightway all along on the earth that it was a sore afraid, but because of words of Samuel. But there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all day nor all night. And the woman came into Saul and saw that he was sore troubled. And unto him, behold, thine handmaid had obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in my hand, and have hearkened unto thy words, in which thou hast spoken unto me. They seen that no matter what, he was like devastated. He saw, this is it. The only answer that I thought that I could have was contacting Samuel through the dead. Came in through the Zion, and he thought he was going to hear something positive. And he said, I have nothing to tell you. He said, and especially that you're coming to do this. God has stopped answering you. The real when he answers you. If you're serving that darkness, he's not answering you. He might hear you because he's always there. But he's not going to answer you when you're serving the darkness. And it's a fear that he had. It was fear. Because it's a difference when he's answering you in trouble and he's saying no. But there's a difference when you know that you have become God's enemies. That's like beyond. He's like devastated, and it tells you on there. But he refused and said, we will not eat. But his servants together with the woman compelled him. And he hearkened unto the voice. So he arose on the earth, and he sat upon the bed. The woman had a fat calf in the house, and she hasted and killed it. And she took the flour and kneaded it, and did bake the unleavened bread thereof. And she brought it before Saul and before his servants. And they did eat, and those that rose up, and they went away that night. They seen that he was pale and he was devastated. And he's like, God didn't answer me. I have become God's enemy now. So the lady said, well, you already put me in that spot. You came to me, even though you said that I'm not. But they were like, eat something. You look pretty bad. You should be afraid. You should be afraid to be on the side of the enemy, and especially if you're his children. You think that what the enemy has for you is so beautiful. You're crazy. You're being so lied to, and you're feeding into the lies. And as you continue attacking God's anointed, you think he's with you. Or I should say, he's with you. He doesn't leave you. But he's not going to answer. I think I heard some people were praying against somebody's destiny. Do you really think he's going to answer when you're praying against a child of the Most High God? And you think if many of us get together and we pray, what if you would have had a chance to be an opportunity to be sitting with the woman of God and the men of God, but you slipped. You messed that up. That's what Saul did. That's what he did. There was no reason. He lost that throne because of him. He didn't lose that throne because he had done good, because he went and did everything under his authority when he was directed to do something else. So then he said, all right, David, would you like to bury my daughter? And David said, okay, why not? And then what happened? You know what I'm saying? It's like he knew. So he was like, all right, well, I'll keep him close. But he kept him close because he wanted to keep an eye on him to see what he was doing and see that God was working through him. He even married his daughter, Michaela. And what it was Michaela telling him when he was dancing and making songs to God, Michaela was like, hey, you're embarrassing me. And he said, I don't care. He said, I was singing praise to God. He said, and believe me, he said, God already had anointed me to be a king before your dad decided to make me his son-in-law. You understand, we were already crowned. We were crowned from a very young age. Everything was destiny. Everything is, even what happens, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But embrace it and take it as a learning lesson, as hard as it might be. At the end of the day, it's going to show where your heart really is at. It's either going to produce evil or it's going to produce good. At the end of the day, you will reap what you sow because it will really show who your heart is. You hear the story of Joseph, and they had done him wrong too. And what did he do? He said, hey, he had the opportunity that he was there to feed him. Did he not do it? Did he say, no, I'm not going to do it because they did me wrong? No, they might have not recognized him. That's what I said to God, man, imagine that. Imagine that. To have somebody that you don't even recognize that you hurt. And then it's in the opportunity to help you out. And he could have easily have been bitter and said, no, I'm not going to do it. And he didn't. What did he say? He said, it's not the vengeance, not mine. That's for my Father. I'm going to play God. He said, but however, here. And he fed them. He gave him food. He gave him money. Everything. What would you do?
Come on. Did you open these?
Did
you open these?
It's like, what would you do?
Movie night tomorrow.
Guilty. I said, I'm guilty. I said, I just got busted. I said, my grandson had a bag of candy. And I was sneaky. I went in there to have it. And then he just got home. I didn't think he was going to, but yeah, it's loose. Do you want it tighter?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're going to show more.
A little more, yeah.
You're going to end up reaping what you sow. You're going to show who your true colors are. You could change the outcome. It doesn't have to have a bad ending. We might have started off.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We might have started off bad, even as ourselves making bad decisions that we made. That I'm speaking for me, that I made. It took me a while to get over that condemnation. I already knew God had forgiven me, but I needed to own that. And it was hard. It was a hard pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? But I finally did. It took me a minute, but I did. It's not too late for you. And it's like I said, we don't have to like each other. I don't hate nobody. I don't have no reason to. I've none. But my heart is different. Not everybody's like me, I have a forgiving heart. I was raised that way, and I'm glad I was raised by the most amazing woman in the world, Marcella, and but not all of us were raised that way, but it's not too late for you. Stop letting the enemy deceive you that you're going to get a free pass and nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to get put through hell, like literally, and that's what they want for you. They might sit there and tell you, oh no, you're still going to be saved. No, some of you are not going to make it back because you decide to rip that seed. Look at Saul ends up perishing. He became an enemy of God. At the end, he still could have been like, you know what, God, that's what you picked. But at the end, he decided to still go after and seek darkness for answers. Do you think when you're sitting there going through mediums and tarot cards and contacting wizards and warlocks that God is going to be happy with you? This is just a couple of the sins, maybe why he's not answering you, But let me close it up with this, and I'm going to do part 2. It says, rest in him. It says, God always comes through on his promises, that we can trust him. His plans are much better than us and our own sometimes. His answer is wait or not yet. Other times it's flat out no, child. My will for you is better. Well, never be able to see the full picture of what God has planned for us. How do you want your story to end? He gives you a beautiful one. So you could have a Sal type of outcome and perish because you decided to go to darkness for help in a lake of fire. Or you could sit there and have a Joseph type of ending, a Mary like me type of ending, or even Job, our king. I think we act selfish sometimes. What did he do? People would have said, well, he didn't, he's not out here with us. He's forever with us. Forever. He's everywhere. By his stripes we were healed. He conquered death. He defeated death on that cross. If it wasn't for him, we would not be here. So it was the most beautiful ending, but sad ending, for him. Who's writing your pen? Who's writing your story? God already has it written for you. The outcome is your choice. That's why they call them the book of life and the book of Lamb. Which book are you in? There is no other two besides those. If you're not in those two, then that should already tell you what your outcome's going to be. Stop trying to change what you can't change, because all it's going to do, change your destiny, change your ending in a lake of fire. You can't win against our Father. And it's sad that you're even trying. We already have an enemy that tries that. And I don't even give him that power. What makes you think I give it to you? But I pray for you. I do pray for you. And this is to tell you this is serious. This is not something that's a joke. This is not something that you could hang around with a bunch of hyenas and girls and men and gossip and lie and think that you could change it, because you can't. All you're doing is changing how your ending's going to be. Just remember that. But with that being said, you have an amazing day. I'm going to do part 2 of when Jesus doesn't answer, because there's also Bible verses in there to also back it up. But have an amazing Friday. See you in a bit. Shalom, shalom. Amen and amen.